Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and I've been a big opposer of the Netflix Witcher universe for some time now, even before the firing of Henry Cavill. But the one thing within this franchise that I relatively enjoy, and at least don't despise like the rest of the franchise, is the anime Nightmare of the Wolf. Now, the anime wasn't great. It was barely good. It had a lot of lore issues, specifically in the way the monsters were designed and how they worked and how they looked. But the self-contained story with some decent characters left me feeling like I didn't necessarily waste my time. And that was a sentiment that I saw shared by a lot of people, even people who were on my side of things despising the TV show version of The Witcher. Now, it looks like Netflix has decided to continue on with these anime adaptations of the Witcher universe with a new animated movie that we just got some more details about, got some casting announcements, and got a better idea about what the story is. And there's some interesting speculation to be had with it. But more importantly, it provides a clear indictment of Netflix's understanding of the Witcher universe in its very title. So let's jump right into it. So we have this article here from What's on Netflix. It was reported by a lot of people. I just like this headline the most. The Witcher Sirens of the Deep, Netflix anime movie, what we know so far. Now, this movie is probably not going to be released until probably 2025 or at least the end of 2024 because we still need season 3 to come out, and then we need Witcher riffraff about the rats coming out probably early next year as well. So it's at least end of 2024, maybe 2025, depending on how fast they get the animation for this done. My personal bet would be 2025 because the Netflix Witcher universe seems to like the 1 year main show, 1 year spinoff type deal. So maybe that's what they'll do. Who knows? And they'll need a little extra time for seasons 4 and 5 since they're filming them back to back. So maybe do 2 spinoffs in a row and then 2 main series seasons in a row. Now with seasons 4 and 5, I'll get into that in another video, but specifically with Sirens of the Deep, my problem with this is that this is animated one of the versions of the short stories that they skipped from Sword of Destiny back in season 1. And this story is basically the Witcher's take on The Little Mermaid, which is interesting that it's coming out now, right after the release of Disney's Little Mermaid. Kind of interesting timing right there. But the story is just Geralt thrown into a dark version of The Little Mermaid with murder, with violence, everything you expect from the Witcher universe. He's brought in to translate between the mermaid and the Duke, who is the stand-in for the prince. Obviously, they don't speak the same language, so he has to translate between the two of them, and that's how the story progresses. The problem is, sirens and mermaids are different. They're different in reality. They are different in mythology. They come from different mythologies. In the Witcher universe, they are very, very different. We've seen sirens in the Witcher video games. We've seen sirens in other points in the books themselves. We've seen sirens and we've seen mermaids. They're not even remotely similar. The only thing that they have in common are that they're sexy fish ladies. That's it. They have staunch differences and staunch purposes and staunch goals when it comes to interacting with mankind. This is ridiculous. This is awful because yes, some franchises, some mythologies do combine them to a certain extent, but if Netflix knew anything about the Witcher franchise, knew that the distinction was very, very important between the two. But once again, they prove that they don't know anything about this franchise, that they don't care to study. Now, I am very familiar with the Witcher books. I know of different translations. I've read different translations, and there is only one translation that I'm aware of that mistakenly uses the word siren instead of mermaid, and it's not an official one. It's a fan-made one translating from the French translation into English. So the only translation that says siren is translated from Polish to French, and then some random dude translated it from French into English. That's 3 translations and unofficial translation to end it all off. That's the only evidence of a siren used in this context in Sword of Destiny in A Little Sacrifice that I could possibly find. In the 2 official translations, both of them say mermaid because mermaids are different and Netflix should know this. I don't necessarily blame the fan who did the translation. Maybe it's difficult to translate between French and English. Maybe French doesn't have a clear distinction between the two of them in their language. But in reality, in the Polish to English translations, in the official translations, in the actual story, there is a difference and they are not the same thing. And Netflix should know about it. Are they using this fan translation to write this story? Or are they just this dumb? Sirens of the Deep is already cliche on top of all that, but it's factually inaccurate and an adaptation of a short story that is great. I love the short story, A Little Sacrifice, which is The Witcher's take on The Little Mermaid. And I have no doubt whatsoever that they're going to butcher it. Any enjoyment that I found from Nightmare of the Wolf, I knew was a passing thing and could not be replicated by Netflix, especially this Netflix franchise run by Lauren Hissrich. And I am just so done with everything that they're doing, all the butchering that they're done, that this doesn't surprise me at this point. They can't even get their titles accurate. At least Blood Origin, as much as I despised that show, had a title that made sense within both lore and with whatever garbage they wrote. Blood Origin made sense. Sirens of the Deep doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it just feels par for the course for Netflix just being as dumb as ever and having no care and no knowledge about The Witcher and how things are supposed to look, let alone the mythology which inspired the Witcher series. But the last bit of speculation that I want to include in this video is whether or not the casting of Geralt, who is included in this short story, will be voice acted by Liam Hemsworth or by Henry Cavill. From the initial reports that we got from the Redanian Intelligence, it looks like they recorded the voice acting for this movie back in 2021, so that would hint at Henry Cavill, but maybe they weren't able to do his line, so there's a strong possibility that it is Liam Hemsworth. We know that Joey Beatty will be returning as Dandelion in it, but the speculation on whether or not the Geralt in the story will be played by Liam or Henry is still very, very much in the air, and we have no official word on that, but speculation is interesting, at least when it comes to that point. And we have some other directors, some composers that are included, some people from Legend of Korra, some people from Nightmare of the Wolf, as well as the casting for the Mermaid, who is supposedly being played by Christina Wren from Man of Steel, who's previously worked with Henry Cavill. Maybe they'll be working together again, who knows? But as long as they are that inaccurate with the very title, I don't trust them to adapt the story itself well at all, because they've never adapted The Witcher well from season 1, season 2, Blood Origin, or even Nightmare of the Wolf with the lore breaks that I was talking about. They never understood this franchise, they never did a good job with it, and they never hired talented writers to at least get the story consistent within itself and well written within itself, even if it breaks canon. So why would this be any different with or without this blatantly factually incorrect title? But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Anon.